part of me. Yes, I've got you under my skin. I've tried so not to give in. I said to myself, this affair ain't never gonna go too well. But why should I try to resist when, baby, I know too well?
Hey, welcome back to the podcast. My guest this week returns to the podcast. Jacob Givens is back. I just love this dude, man. We always have such a good time chatting about all kinds of stuff. This one's really interesting. We go deep on his latest hobby that he's taken up, which is making mead. And it's pretty interesting. Discovered some stuff about religion and obviously the pandemic. And yeah, it was a good hang. I hope you enjoy listening to our chat. And go check out some of Jacob's stuff. I'll put all the links in the show notes. He's an incredible writer and filmmaker and comedian. And he's just great. Enjoy. Jacob Givens. Nobody can match that tavern.
Right.
That
And we're
tavern.
enhancing it. We're making improvements.
What is going on?
We are, so before it was basically like one wall was the stone wall, and then the rest was like, well, we covered it with curtains and had some other stuff. But now we've built literally 3 walls are all fake stone now. And we've added these drapes and lanterns
I
and
see the
everything. So
drapes.
now when you get in here, it's very immersive. Like when you shut the door, you're like completely transported to another time and place, which is just so cool. So we're almost done.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it, man.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to have you over, and it'll be great. Are you in the process of vaccination? Have you already gotten started, or?
Yeah, I got my second one Sunday.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
The new question of 2021: Moderna or Pfizer?
Oh, Moderna. I'm a Moderna.
Yeah, I'm a Moderna as well. I'm 1 shot in, and I get my next one in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and I'll be done. But did it knock you down?
No.
You did fine.
Yeah, I you know, what's funny is I prepped. Like I was like, all right, I'm going to prepare that I'm going to be knocked down. So,
okay.
I took off work Monday and like wore comfy. Not that I've worn anything but comfy clothes for a year, but like way more comfy, like the old, like the sick sweat clothes. You know?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So,
solid move.
So some of it might have been psychosomatic, but I took a couple naps, which I normally don't nap.
Yeah.
And then last night, I guess
you don't nap. What kind of father are you?
I know, man.
That is a gift of parenthood. is the sneaking in a nap.
Dude, they make me groggy. They make me groggy usually, so I can't
wife's
do it.
the same way. I can literally like fall asleep in this chair for about a solid 15 minutes, just sitting here like this, and then I could get up and be like, "All right, let's go."
See, now I used to nap when I was working East Coast hours. I would nap if I had like a break of a half hour or something, or 20 minutes. I would take little power naps, but now that I'm getting regular sleep and not working that weird schedule, they just bug me.
Slow you down.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't do much napping, but I napped, and then last night I don't think I had a fever, but like I sweated. I was really sweaty.
Yeah.
You know, and just like worked something out overnight, but that was it. So I mean,
well, I'm thinking the usual for me. I'm sure I'll feel sluggish, run down for like 24 hours, but I don't anticipate I'll be completely knocked down. Just from what I know myself, I feel like I'll probably be like, I don't feel great, but
yeah. I mean, I was like, I don't know if I should do this. I did drink like Gatorade and took a couple Tylenols like prophylactically, just like to make sure I didn't have anything weird. So, but I went on my regular run and, you know, kind of did my day. So, you know,
good. I'm glad you didn't get beat up too bad, because you hear some people that are just like, it was awful, I had headaches, the shakes, dizzy,
Yeah, but it's that's
sick.
still only about 25% of the people.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like, that's incredible numbers.
Yeah.
It
is.
So
I'm a big fan. I'm ready. Let's vaccine it up, and let's get back out in the world. Let's open things up. Let's get through this.
Yeah,
Nabbit.
I've been thinking about it. I'd feel better if there wasn't so much anti-vax stuff.
Well, I'd feel better if there weren't idiots on the planet, but that's just never going to change.
But they're impacting
just
my
always going to be
ability.
there.
They're impacting our ability to go back out and be.
I know.
Normal,
Yeah.
It's so frustrating, but I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic.
I think it's getting better. I don't know. I feel like, I still have to go to work in Pasadena, and it seems like the whole energy and the vibe of the city is really starting to change, and people are still masking and still keeping distance, and it's respectful, but there's a lot of people out. You're like, wow, it's things are starting to come back for sure.
Yeah, it's so interesting, man. We're going to look back on this, and eventually, when this is not the primary thing we're always talking about.
I know. I'm sorry, I've already started off this new podcast with talk of vaccinations, but it is an era, capsule. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a time capsule. But I mean, I want to fondly look back on it, or not fondly look back on it, and be like, remember when we lived through that pandemic? That was fucking nuts, huh? Like, I was just in Target the other day, and I was getting toilet paper, and I was like, wow, there's like a bunch of brands to choose from, and it's full, like, do you remember, like, last April, going to stores was like apocalyptic?
It was
emptiness.
The worst. It was the absolute worst. And I had a total, as the young people say, trigger warning. Like, I in the fall, when it started to spike up again, I'll never forget, I went to a store and it was all cleaned out of TP, and I literally felt like I had like PTSD seeing it. I was like, oh no, it's starting all over again, because you can, like, it brought me back to March, April, when you'd go to the store, and this grocery store in my town, this Vaughn's at the time, had, like, you'd walk in and the fluorescent bulb was like flickering, like we were in Joe versus the volcano, and people were kind of skulking around the aisles, and things were picked bare. And it literally looked like I was watching like a zombie apocalypse film. And I was like, this is life now. This is terrible. And it was such a terrifying time.
It's crazy, man.
I was just on a podcast of yours. So do you feel like I've got to come up with you can't ask me any of the same questions? Is this a totally new format, or did you throw away the old? Have you deleted my last episode, or is it?
It was months ago. So much has changed.
Not much, really.
I mean, I think what's funny about this is, like, booking comedy shows where you have 5-6 comics booked. When somebody cancels, it's not that big of a deal. You can always adjust. But, like, booking this is like, I'm only booking one person at a time. So, and it's harder to fit in. So I'm struggling a little bit with the scheduling of it, even though I've made it fairly easy. It's like, it's weird. So I'm trying to walk the line of how pushy I am about getting guests versus, like, just putting an open call out. I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird. I kind of want to. I did a couple by myself, which I intended to do when I didn't have guests. But I had such a good run of guests that I was like, didn't have to do it by myself. Yeah. So I want to get that going so I don't have to worry about it, and then look to see when I can have people who are interested in being a guest. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, for sure. I run a podcast. I know how it goes. We were lucky that, if somebody bails, because we bounce between having a guest and then having it just be the two of us talking. And I'm thankful that we have, the ability to just do a show where it's just Noel and I talking, because, guests, it's hard to get people locked down. Especially we record ours during the work week, like during the regular working hours.
Yeah.
And so not everybody's available to just like sit down and start recording a podcast in the middle of the work week. So it's a challenging thing to consistently record content and keep, a line of guests coming and going,
I like the solo format. So far they're much, shorter and
sure.
But I like it a lot, actually. It's interesting because it's a good thought experiment,
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It is fun. I'm thinking that, when things do somewhat return to normal, I still don't know when I'll want to be responsible for bringing people indoors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To host a show, I just don't know. I have to feel real comfortable first, like even going to a restaurant myself.
Yeah.
But again, I think we've definitely overblown it, I feel like, in California, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I was hearing, not to get back into the whole conversation, but I thought that a lot more research has come out to say that we may have gotten a little bit carried away on the surface issue of the disease, that it's airborne. It's in our, that's the way it's traveling, and that the sanitization and the wiping down of things and groceries and services is that we took that well beyond, which is fine. I mean, if you've got something as big and serious as this, it's like, might as well overcorrect, but we might be able to get to a place where you shouldn't feel as worried and afraid if you're washing your hands to open a door, sit at a table, have these interactions, because it's not as common for it to pass itself through surface as it is through, breath and spit and airborne like that. So,
but I'm surprised we're not seeing surges coming out of the things that have opened. I mean, there's a lot of comedy clubs are back open, half capacity. Yeah. So is it literally the half capacity that's keeping it good? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's a good question.
That's the part that's weird to me, is like, okay, was this okay all along?
Yeah.
What are we missing here? Is it literally close, long contact with people you don't know?
Yeah.
Indoors, as opposed. So I don't know. That's the other half of this that'll be really interesting, is to find out what the fuck is actually going on.
Yeah.
That's true. When scientists can say like, oh, this is what it was. You know what I mean? Like
looking back a couple years from now and being able to say, now that we've distanced ourselves, we know what it is that really was the culprit.
And why some people get it so differently than others. Mm-hmm. There's got to be some genetic thing, some marker or something like that. So,
well, did you hear the thing about that, your reaction to the vaccinations? And this might all be urban myth, because how people just start talking. Yeah. But somebody said like women and certain blood types, like, A, O,
right.
That dependent upon those things, you could have a much more dramatic reaction to the vaccine, just the way that it's, running through your veins, I guess. But that was some of the things that people were talking about. I was like, oh, well, I hear it's, AB blood type. And you're like, oh, interesting. So
I don't know about all that.
Who knows?
I don't know.
This isn't real science. This is just people talking on Facebook and social media.
Yeah. It's like we don't even need fact checkers. What we need is like peer review checkers. Like, is anything you said peer reviewed by multiple people and proven? Otherwise, it's literally just opinion.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that used to be okay. We come from a time where before you used to be able to go hang out with your friends and have like an idea or a thought, shit. And somebody be like, I don't think that's right. And you're like, you could be right. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass. But now we live in an era where you could literally have heard a thought, share it, and then after it reaches 800,000 people, it's somebody says, well, that's not accurate information at all. But it's too late. You already put it out there, and now 800,000 people think it's truth.
Yeah, that is. That's it. We can still shit talk. We just shouldn't be able to amplify it and make it like it's true. It's nuts.
Yeah.
But it's okay to shit talk about things that aren't life and death, right?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You can talk about whatever you want. It's just interesting because the
77 Barracuda is better than the 75 Barracuda. You can't prove me wrong,
Right. Exactly.
You can shit talk. Fuck, dude, crazy. So I wanted to ask you about the Mead thing sure.
I'd love to talk about my mead. I wish I had a bottle right here with me, but I can talk about it for sure.
I'm getting the sense that you are turning into like quite the aficionado, and there will be more from this mead situation.
I do feel like I'm hitting a second chapter of my life where I'm starting to explore doing things that I'm like, wow, if you would have grabbed me when I was 20 and said, this is something you're going to do, I'd be like, I don't think so. But I just recently ordered my first, I have a wood block that's a pipe that I'm going to carve from scratch. So this is just, I mean, look at I'm sitting in a tavern that I built. I'm making mead. I'm going to start carving pipes. I mean, what's next? Renaissance fairs in my backyard. So mead, I have wanted to brew beer. I've wanted to do something like that for years. And I have met many beer brewers. And oftentimes I would go to their house and they would show me their setup. And I was like, okay, there's a lot of equipment and it's a lot of kind of learning here. And you got to buy these different grains and, grow these hops. And
it's really hard.
It was a really hard thing. Yeah. And then they would tell stories. They'd be like, well, in this batch right here, I totally blew it. And I had to throw out the whole thing. And I was like, man, the point of entry on beer is tricky because you're investing in equipment and you could really screw things up.
Yeah.
And people would make batches and they'd be like, I was really disappointed with it. And I had the mead thing came as like almost a joke because here I am in a tavern and it was like, what could I make? Mead. And it turns out that mead is like one of the oldest alcoholic beverages we have on the planet. It dates back like 30,000 years. It predates beer and wine. And it does that because it's so easy.
Yeah.
It's honey, yeast, water. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
It is literally so simple. The Vikings made it because they had those oak barrels.
Yep.
The yeast and bacteria would settle in there. They'd put their honey in there and then it would rain and the water would come. And they believed at the time that the gods had blessed the giant stirring stick. They thought that was what was causing it to come out and be delicious. They would put the stick in there and stir it around. And they were like, it's this stick. It's making this amazing mead. That was the lore behind it. But it's so the to get started requires very little investment. And if you blow it, it just doesn't hurt as much. Thankfully, I haven't blown it yet. I've all of my batches have been successful. But I started with a very simple one that was like I found online that was saying, hey, here's some store-bought honey, and you just need to get this glass, what's called a glass carboy, which is a 1 gallon jug. And you have to have these things like air locks to help the air escape, which are not expensive. These are $1, couple dollars.
Sure.
And then you get your yeast. And for the first one, they're like, use Fleischmann's bread yeast. It's frowned upon by serious brewers, but it's yeast. It'll get the job done. And you won't go out and buy some, fancy brewer's yeast.
Is that like a lineage of yeasts, like sourdough? Do you find like this?
Yes. There is so yeast is, once you get into it, there's this whole world of the different types of yeast, D47, or you're using this red cuvee from, it's like all these yeast are yielding different alcohol results. They'll say they top out at 15% or 18%, and this one will make it drier. This one will more enhance the sweet and the fruit. So you can get really, really deep in it. But the first one I did was Fleischmann's bread yeast.
Yeah.
And you get this thing called a hydrometer, and then you just measure and monitor. And it is the name of the game is sanitization, which is something we've learned very well during this time period.
Yeah.
You sanitize things, you make sure that everything's clean, and then it's patience. You get the ingredients, you put them in there, you put it away. And you just learn to be okay with like, all right, I'm going to pull this out after 3-4 weeks. I'm going to test it. Yeah. I'm going to take a little sample and whatnot and just see if it's doing its thing. And then, for my first batch, after about 3 months, it was good to go. And then my other two that I did after that, I got more fancy yeasts and yeast nutrients and all that. And I got a little bit more creative. Like on my third one, I used a orange blossom honey, and I added dried Bing cherries, cinnamon sticks, cloves, and it kind of created this like wintry kind of holiday tasting mead. It's really good, and it's 17.6%. So it is potent.
Is it closer to beer flavory or not comparable? I don't know.
I would say, it's funny. I get that question a lot. I would say it's closer to wine, to be honest. I mean, it's a honey wine. My first batch tastes like a Honeycrisp apple. It's kind of, it's refrigerated. It's got kind of white wine-like qualities. It's very clear, very yellow, kind of golden. And then I would say my middle one, I used an avocado honey, which it doesn't taste like avocados. It was just bees that were pollinating on avocados. And so it has a much more buttery, very unique flavor to it. And I did that one by itself. And that one does taste like a red ale, but it doesn't have the same kind of mouthfeel. Gosh, I sound like such a brewer. Mouthfeel as a beer does, but it does have a little bit more of a taste of like an ale.
So
and
there's
then the
no
third one is like
right?
a winter wine. But yeah, they're more like wine. They averaged 14, 15%, going up to 16, 17%. So
do you drink it cold? Like
you can drink them room temperature.
Yeah.
I have liked all of mine chilled a little bit. I wouldn't say like you don't need to go tap the Rockies ice cold. You just need, I like it in the refrigerator for a little bit, so it's cool. But I bet you that the wintry one, I bet you if that was even a little bit warm, it would probably taste good.
Interesting.
So, but it's really good. I love what I'm making.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. There's a book that I just read called The Immortality Key, and it's about the origins of, it's like the origins of the religion with no name, which is like before biblical times. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Eleusinian mysteries or any of that stuff, but it's like,
no,
it's fascinating that basically the origins of Christianity and religion really came out of this wine or mead based elixir where people would get visions. The hypothesis is that basically the fermented yeast would get this mold called ergot, which made people hallucinate, and basically like similar to mushrooms or, LSD trips.
Yeah.
And they would, sometimes it would kill people. So they had these people that mixed this potion and got really good at mixing this potion. And they were usually always women. And it's like the source of the Greek empire, the source of all society is based in this idea of, visions and the human experience and dying before you die of, tripping balls. And it's all based in, and this guy that put it all together has been studying it his whole career, finally has studied like ancient Greek pottery and these crazy anthropologist digs that find evidence of pottery and drinks and all the ingredients that were in the drinks, basically to prove that what was happening was they were making these ceremonial brews, and you would go to Eleusis for this life transforming ritual cooked up by these women, and it basically got bastardized into Christianity and the blessing of the body and blood of Christ and all this stuff. And it's awesome book. Like you're like, well, I don't know who, like he went to the Vatican and read ancient scriptures because he studied ancient languages, so he could read Hebrew and Greek and all this stuff. So
I need to read this book.
It's
I need
incredible.
to read this book, and
it'll blow you away.
It's not only blowing me away, I can't even believe that you're bringing it up to me in relation to the mead, because side note, I have been toying with the idea of starting a podcast of my own separate. I already have my podcast, but this is not that the world needs millions of more of these, but it's more because it's something that I feel very passionate about. But I've been thinking for a long time that on my own, I wanted to do one that was about religion and whatnot, because I have a huge history. I was growing up in the Christian faith and then leaving it. And so I have always wanted to do a podcast kind of as a spiritual Ronin, if you will, kind of being wandering and saying, I used to be part of this family, this culture, this society. of belief. And now I'm not in that anymore. And I'm not somebody who wants to go through life and say there is nothing and it's empty and a void out there. But I'm more hungry to kind of explore and learn and extrapolate what I can from other belief systems and what people believe, and also get in tune with like how the body connects to the earth and the universe. And so the fact that you shared that with me, I'm like, one, I got to read this book. Two, when I do my podcast, you're coming on and we're talking about this because
it's unbelievable.
Because man, that sounds absolutely fascinating.
Yeah,
so,
I know another guy you should talk to named Gary Laterman. I mean, you should definitely do that immediately.
Do you think I should do the podcast? Are you encouraging me to do it?
Yes, start immediately. And if the fact that you'll be doing this podcast from the owl and the Fox and the
Fox
owl,
and owl. Yeah.
I mean, actually, it wouldn't be that bad. You need a DSLR camera. You know what you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, let's.
All right. We'll talk.
We'll talk more about that later. But I think that'd be fantastic, dude, because look, how many people grew up religious, and when you're a kid, you're indoctrinated without the rationality skills to get yourself out of it.
Yeah.
And depending on people's lives, some parents will not have a kid being like, I don't understand this, or this doesn't make sense. Like, some people don't tolerate that and people never escape. And it's just like, so when you come out of it and bring rationality to it, and like you said, it's like, nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Nobody knows. That's how we know nobody's right. Because nobody knows. So one of these can't be right. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think enough people think about it. And I don't know also if it's, so I had this conversation with my daughter the other day because she has grown up completely nothing, zero religion.
Same with my children. And that juxtaposition from my childhood is wild.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me about your daughter, but I'm just saying I also have raised two sons that their understanding of church and God is next to none. Yeah. And when I go back and I think about my childhood compared to theirs, I'm like, this is literally like a social experiment here to see like how your psyche is impacted. Yeah. But go on with what you were saying about what you talked to your daughter about.
It's just the references to things are very. It's interesting because I was like, you don't know the story of Noah's Ark, right? And she's like, no. And so I tried to like retell her that story, and even just telling her the story, I'm like, yeah, obviously it's ridiculous, right? Like,
so this is obviously not a real thing. Right?
So, so it was just like, well, what were they trying to say here? You know, what was that story trying to say? And I don't know if I even finished figuring out what they were trying to say with that one. But I was like, what I did figure out is like, there were people who were wiped out by floods. That happened because it happens now. And probably they were way less prepared when they had to write those stories, like way less prepared. And maybe it was a good way to keep people in line was to say, listen, if you keep up this bullshit, God's going to send another flood.
He's going to wipe us all out.
Right? So it's like storms did come and wipe people out, but like the only rational explanation is like, yeah, that can happen. But luckily we saved all the animals, two of each, and brought them on board. And I'm like, obviously that doesn't make any sense either, because how do you get all the animals? And they wouldn't get along. They would eat each other. You can't have a lion on the boat. Like it's over.
And like, it's just the whole thing is just so preposterous. And I had a similar experience, because my parents were still, still church going, and I love them dearly, but we would go visit, and my son would go, and my mom would say, all right, well, let's go. And out of respect for her, I would say, okay. Yeah. So I would put my son in these Sunday school classes where he had no reference as to what he was about to sit into, and he would come out and he would glean these little small fragments of stories like David and Goliath. And if you're suddenly thrown into a Bible story and you have no foundation before that, they sound weird. You're kind of bananas. Like, he came out and was like, okay, so there's this guy, and then there's this big giant, and the only way he could beat the bad guy was to kill him with a stone and a slingshot. And these messages that they're being sent are like, okay, so the solution is we kill the problem, and you're like, no, that's not the point of the story. but you realize, you go, well, what is the point of the story? These stories have been filtered and taught in such a very specific way to a specific group of people that they only make sense to those group of people. If you take it out, then people go, I don't know what this is supposed to be. And then the Noah's Ark, it's really interesting. Just the everything from church on Sunday. I mean, I went to church like Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. I was at church all the time. I'm not one of those grew up in a casual Christian home. Yeah. I grew up in an intense Christian home. I was like big time involved. By the time I was in high school, I was like, youth group, mission trips, all that stuff. And then by the time I got into my 20s, even in LA, I was like a leader in a church out here and considered many times going into seminary. And so I was not one of those people who was like kind of 1 foot, half in, half out, or questioning. I was literally like, my life was built around this. Wow. And when I left, it wasn't easy. And my brother and I talk about it a lot. It's actually a very painful process. I can only equate it to unplugging Neo in the Matrix, is that your muscles have atrophied. You are sitting completely unworked out, and you're in a lot of pain because you just haven't been given the tools on how to go through existence without that. And so you go through years of a grieving process. And then I spent what must have been 10 years of my life angry about it. And I'm just now at my age now, not angry anymore. Wow. And so that's why I feel like it's time for me to do a podcast or, start conversations, because I think there's a lot to be learned from everyone. There's a lot to be learned from other religions, other belief systems, other ideas, new age ideas, old age ideas, and kind of bring them together and try to kind of journey through life looking. I'd rather spend the rest of my days on this earth looking and asking and exploring than going, aha, eureka, I found it and I've solved it, So
I mean, I would say read. It's hard to say which one first, but I would say read, if you haven't already, Sapiens. Okay. And then Immortality Key. Okay. And
I'm in. I want to read all these.
I mean, it's fascinating. And dude, I can't, like, did you have like a moment where you were like, I'm done with this? Or did you think about it for a while? Really?
It was slow. It was not a moment. And I think my brother and I talk about this often on the phone, about your moment when it starts to happen. But for me, it was, I started to question the things that the church was doing. And then when you start digging in, you start going, okay, well, that's a problem. And then really for me, the slippery slope out was the more you study Jesus himself as a Jewish man, and you study and learn about the rituals and the actual things that were being said by him to the Jewish people and not to everybody else, you start going, wait a second, I don't think this was made for everybody else. I don't think that what this is being taught is this great unifying religion all around. And then once you start digging into that, then you start digging into the origin of the holidays, like we talked about. And even the thing that you said about the wine and the origins of how this becomes something. And the further you start kind of unraveling and dismantling things, the more you go, oh, wait a second, this book is assembling a lot of information, and it's pulling from other cultures, and it's borrowing this idea of a virgin birth, and it's borrowing this from here. And you go, oh man, this isn't a real document.
I can't wait.
This isn't real.
I can't wait until you read Immortality Key and just because, hey, who knows? Because it's shit that happened thousands of years ago, right? But the interdisciplinary nature of the way this dude researched and went about this, it's just like, well, who can refute this story as well as he's put out a case? It's almost like, what's that Occam's razor deal where it's just like, well, which is more likely? What he unearthed and makes sense if you know how humans work, or the stories we were fed. And it's like, interesting. Especially when you start to look at, particularly with, the Catholic Church, they're good at burying shit that ain't pleasant.
Yeah.
And hiding things. And it's just like, oh man, I don't feel as dismantled because I think I was kind of, not that I was ever super serious into it. My parents were pretty like we went to church most Sundays. When they could go Saturday night, we started going Saturday night because it was a quicker mass.
Sure.
We were like real light touch on that. It wasn't super crazy. And then by my sophomore year, even though I went to Catholic grade school and high school, by my sophomore year in high school, I was like, I don't like any of this. Yeah. And I had one of the coolest teachers who was also a priest, which was interesting. He was like a scholarly dude. Like he was just super smart and super progressive, I say, for a priest at that time. Yeah. And we used to have to do like confession, like during school. Like they'd be like, okay, it's time, everybody. It was like before Easter or something. And they didn't have proper, like those weird confessionals where you go into the box, and slide I don't know if you've ever seen those, but like, you go into this box, the priest is in the middle and he slides a little panel. He's like, tell me everything, We didn't have those at the school. So we would actually go into a classroom and you could either face the priest or sit back to back so he didn't see who it was. But there was like, 400 people in our school. They knew who everybody was by this point. So,
right.
I went into him and he was the first one that I sat down and facing him. And it was the first time I had ever done that type of confession. I'd always done it in a little box. Right. And when you're a kid, it's always dumb. Like, oh, I ate an extra cookie and I said poop, and it just graduates from there. Right.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I was like, look, I don't think any of this makes any sense, or me telling you stuff and then you telling me to say a repetitious prayer afterward does any good. And he was like, yeah, maybe not, just kind of like, he's like, it's not for everybody. Like, you're at the age where you can start thinking for yourself and that's cool. Here's cool,
Yeah.
And I thought that was very big of him to be like,
oh, sure.
He could have gone a different way. He was like one of the best teachers I've ever had, actually, in terms of even schoolwork stuff.
Yeah, and you come across those people along the way. I mean, there were a lot of wonderful teachers and smart people that I met, and people I really appreciated their insight. And you always meet the cool, like I you've heard me tell this on stage before. I always describe myself as I've got the face of a cool youth pastor.
Yeah.
Like I have that persona about me. It was like, hey guys, we're going to read the Bible. It's like you would come across people that were really, really cool and down to earth people. And were okay with the idea of brokenness and coming from, I don't understand things and not being judgmental. And those are wonderful, wonderful people.
Yeah.
It's when I dug even deeper, the older I got, I started realizing it was like, I just think that the entire model of telling you that by default, you are a sinful creature and a price has been paid for you and you now owe your life to him because this price has been paid. I'm like, this entire ideology is flawed.
You just begin
from
with
the
guilt.
Very get-go. It gives you the idea that you are by default a bad person. And I was like, this is unhealthy. And it puts in people's heads the wrong idea about personal responsibility. They start misbehaving in their life, or they do things and they go, well, only through the grace of God, I will be healed of this. And you're like, no, you just need to own your personal shit.
Yeah.
And you got to just face the music, and you got to there's nobody bailing you out. You got to just do it right. And I don't know. I grew up around it so much that I do still get heated. And that's the one thing that has made me worried about doing a podcast is I have a feeling that I have to find a way to not just get completely wound up while talking about all these pain points from my past, that I'd just be like,
I will listen to that in a heartbeat. I read so much about this. It's almost, it's so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Because, and like I said, I wasn't like super deep, right? But it was just like, this is so big and impacts the entire world, you're
The
on,
whole planet.
you're basically on one side or the other, and then the no side,
Yeah.
right? Of like, so that just doesn't make any sense. Even when we all should, that's one of my solo podcasts was called Humans 101, where I was like, can't we just have a couple rules we can all agree on? Like, can't we just have a couple of those that come right out of the gate? Like, we should just start from, first of all, nobody knows shit. We don't know why we're here. We don't know. And nobody knows what happens after we're gone. That's it.
That's fair.
Like, that should just be imprinted when the kid comes out. Like, this is the first one. Everything else we'll figure out.
Yeah.
But like, we don't know the answer to that one. So like, promising people shit, it just gets so crazy so fast if you think about the intentions of doing that. Like, even the history of learning, like, so when religious texts, I mean, this is the basis of the splits of all of the Christian sects, right? Like, one of them, Martin Luther, was just like, hey, you know what? You don't need the priest to tell you this. Basically, all they're saying is this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put this list up on the fucking wall, and this is all you need to know. We don't need the interpreter, because for sure there were interpreters, just like there's yoga gurus and shit right now. They take it too far. They bang everybody's wife, you know, and it's just like, and so they're like, okay, priests can't be with women. We got to cut that off. Like, they're taking advantage. So it's just like, you can see, if you look at the biology and the way the brain works, this doesn't make sense unless you're trying to control a group of people. Yeah. You know, some of it's really cool. Like, science based in metaphor is pretty cool. Like, I got to imagine that, like, the Jewish not eating pork thing made a lot of sense. They're like, listen, I don't know why this kills people when we
I don't know why we're all getting sick and feel like dog shit after we have this.
No more
let's
pork.
Stop eating it.
Let's no more pork, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of good. I just read this book called Religion for Atheists, and it was amazing because the author was basically saying, look, there are incredible things that the church and Christianity and organized religion, Jewish religion, gives people. And that is community, that is art, that is, you know, when they talk about galleries and just the inspiration and the Renaissance and the community and also the idea of saints and how people adorn themselves with, you know, you put a saint because it's reminding you of the best of humanity. And these are things that the secular community could really use. We could use community. And once upon a time when we weren't spread across the world and living and talking on Zooms, but we were in small little neighborhoods, it was like, it was normal for all the families in the neighborhood to dine together once a week and to drink and eat and laugh and commune together. And these things have been lost over time, but the church and organized religions have kept that as a tradition, which is, let's all gather once a week. Well, that's a great thing. And then to be inspired by music and art and to, like I was talking about the saints thing, like if I sat there and I thought, you know, a great philosopher that really inspired me, or I want, you know, some great talented person, and I just looked at their image, I would suddenly be like, man, I want to be more like this, you know, this brilliant person right here, this philosopher. And those are all things that they get right, and that we should continue to find ways to re-inspire and invigorate the secular society. But it's, you know,
I don't know the answer to this, but are there like evangelical nutty kind of crazy churches in places where it's not a tax benefit to do so? Like where you can be tax free? Like, I don't know, but like, it seems like,
I feel like there's evangelical crazy churches literally in every single place here.
Really?
In the country.
Well, yeah, in this country, I'm saying, does that happen in other places? Yeah, because like you were saying, like bringing community together, having a good, like just bringing people together to be a good group of people. Yeah. Can be religious or not, but I wonder how many of those like evangelical kind of bring together everybody, but also you're collecting money, also you're not paying taxes, also you know, have a gold car and like all that shit, all those crazy churches that I wonder how how inspired they would be to have that congregation if it wasn't a huge tax shelter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, do they really believe it? Like, if you actually listen to some of those people talk, you're like, oh, this is word salad. Like, this is not like insightful at all.
No,
you know,
and some of these modern churches, which I had attended before, were doing cosmopolitan, like out of a magazine scripture. You know, we're talking like that. Was this a life coach room? Were they quoting scripture? I mean, it was literally just like something you would look around at the sea of actors and entertainers and musicians and probably comedians. They were getting, lifted up about how all they have to do is really follow their dreams and believe. And you would look at and you'd be like, I don't think this is a church. I think this is a self-help group. And they're just kind of peppering in some, Judeo-Christian ideas. So that all that stuff, it's rare that you find anybody who's really about like, let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to what it was all about in the beginning. Yeah. So
it's nuts.
It is nuts. You didn't think that you were going to have Jacob Givens on your podcast and we not talk about comedy or movies or silly LA stories, but we talk about religion. Wow. How about that?
That's a pandemic for you.
Mead and religion.
We're hitting all the good topics.
All the good topics. All those really timely things.
This one's going to trend well with the millennials. I'm on my third pass through Gravity Falls with my son.
Oh, I love that show.
God, it's good.
It's so good. And I watched it with my boys. They were such big fans. And then they said, Dad, you got to see this. And so we sat down start to finish. We watched it all the way through. And I was like, man, the guy who created that show is our kind of people. He's have you watched it again? Time.
Have you seen it again since then?
Not since the one time all the way through. I should probably go back and do it again.
I mean, it goes really quick because it's 2 seasons. But there's so many layers to that show. Like, like I said, we're on our third pass and my son is like super, super observant and he watches them without me also. So he spots all this stuff, like the little time shifter guy. He's all over the place the whole time.
Yeah. We did see, my son watches it and it has wound back and been like, look, here's him in this scene and here's him in this scene. And my son has the book 3, like the actual physical book.
Oh, wow.
And he has written and gone in there and he's deciphered all the language of Bill Cipher.
Oh my
and
God.
So like, here's the code. And so, my son is just like that.
I got to get that. I didn't know you could get that.
Yeah, you can. And don't worry, there's like one, if you go looking for it, there was one that was like a collector's edition that actually glowed.
Yeah.
But that one's like, they only made like 100 of them and it's thousands of dollars to find one. The regular book 3, honestly, I think it's like a $20,
that's awesome. I'm going to get him that
to buy it. So I think your son would absolutely love that as a surprise gift.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to do that. Yeah, we love it. We literally just started this week because the other thing that we just keep watching is Teen Titans Go.
Oh yeah, Teen Titans. I've seen a few of those. I haven't seen a ton of them, but they are all very, very funny. And I loved the movie. Yeah. The movie that came out, I think it was just like a year or 2 ago. Yep. The one where the sequence where they travel to stop all superheroes beginning on their big wheels. And then they realize they've ruined everything. I mean, I was just dying. I was like, this is hilarious.
I will say fully without hesitation that Teen Titans Go is my favorite all-time cartoon.
That's awesome.
And that includes Bugs Bunny.
Wow.
The classics.
High praise.
Tom and Jerry. I mean, it is 5 seasons of every one, and there's 2 episodes per season or 2 per show, basically. So, like, just so good. It's so good.
That's awesome.
I love it. It just cracks me up, and it's like our shared language, of it. And it's so funny because it's older now. I think the last one was like 2019 or something.
It wrapped up older than that, I think, even. I think it was...
Oh, the movies were 2018, 2019.
2015, 2016 or something like that. And they ran for those 2 years and it's been gone for a while.
Yeah.
And there's always these online rumors about it coming back or there being a movie or whatnot. But sadly, I think that the guy who made it was just like, that's it. I don't want to milk this franchise. I want it to be special and meaningful. And so I don't know.
It's very well done. I love it.
It's a great one.
So the last time we talked, you were I think mentioning that you were like having writer's block and feeling really weird about writing. And how's that going?
It's been so much better, honestly. I really do feel like from the start of the pandemic until almost the year anniversary of it, it was like I just couldn't snap out of it. And I feel like just recently I've been feeling inspired and creative. I've been reading that Stephen King book on writing.
Oh, that's
good. Been just revving me up big time. I've been daydreaming about ideas and shorts. The other day I went back, and this sounds, like I'm being arrogant, but I went back and I watched Intermission, my own short, and I watched it and I was like, damn, this was actually pretty good. I hadn't watched it in a while, and I was like, I need to do another one of these. I felt like my old self was returning, and I felt like I could start to see the idea of creating again. I don't know. I felt like I almost needed a year to just, I don't know, not be in that I have to create space or something.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I mean, I can't say enough about Intermission. I tell people about it all the time.
Oh, well, thank you,
dude.
I appreciate that.
It's
not bad. I hadn't watched it in a while, and I watched it and I was like, not too shabby for your first, iPhone short film. I was like, I did all right with that.
What would you change watching it now?
I might have sped it up, and the only reason because I think that the attention span of people online, asking them to sit down and commit to 24 minutes. I feel like if I had found a way to get it to 15, 16 minutes to where, I think it needed a little bit of that breathing room. Honestly, it did. It needed to feel patient and like you were alone on this planet with that character.
Yeah.
But so it's hard for me to even imagine where I would cut. But I just think that if I'd gone a little bit shorter, then maybe more people would have seen it. That's all I wish in hindsight. But I don't know, man. It was a patient burn. And it is what it is. It exists. It's like an album. It's like when you're finished recording your songs and you're like, it's out there. It's done.
Yeah. It's excellent. I love it. I watch it a lot. Actually, because I send people to it all the time. And every time I do, I have the link and I'm like,
oh, good.
Let's see.
Good. Well, thank you.
Yeah. I still want to go. I still think there's what version iPhone was that? 8?
8. Yeah. That was shot in 2018.
Man.
Yeah, 2018.
I mean, yeah, your next one will be even better. I mean, they're getting so ridiculous. So. They're getting so ridiculous.
I think for my next one though, I feel like I want somebody who really knows camera angles and what's the coverage I'm supposed to get. I think that's the one thing that I should know better, that when you're creating something, you need to get people that have spent a lot of time learning one thing. And because I think that as much as I wanted to have control and do that on my own, I've spent my life working on story. And so I feel like, well, that's what I should be focused on.
Right.
And I feel like there's got to be somebody who would be willing, who's very good at camera work, that would go, I'll shoot. I'll film you. Yeah. And because I think it would only enhance the project to not have moments where you look at it and you go, "Ooh, that was a little out of focus," or I was holding it on the gimbal and it kind of floated in the wrong way in that moment. I feel like get the best person to run the camera and the sound.
Yeah.
So
when you write it, do you picture it though? But do you necessarily picture the shots?
I do picture the shots, but again, I from a very, I know the basic 180 rules and the basic filmmaking rules, but I think that, my friend Clayton, who you've met before, shot House Harker, who shot Good Cops, who shot Tumbleweed, his whole life, his whole career has been how to literally master that lens and where to point it.
Yeah.
And I go and I look at his work and I go, that's somebody who not only sees the shot, but he knows his language. That's his language.
Yeah.
My language is the words. And I
Yeah.
can see, oh, I think it'd be great to have a wide here and then go tight and then an over the shoulder here, or maybe have this nice panning shot here. But there is a language in every art form that people learn how to speak fluently. Yeah. And I think I am not fluent in camera.
It's almost like your version of it is like the printed version, and his is calligraphy, and you're like, that's better.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great analogy. It was a printed version of the story. And you go, well, somebody could have flourished this. Somebody could have shot this and made the visuals really, really like, oh my gosh, and so lesson learned. I don't think Intermission would have been made had I waited for all those people. Though,
sure.
Because
there's something about the solitary vision of it that's amazing, though.
Yeah, you can't convince people. I'm 42. I can't convince people my age to go out in the desert for free and shoot a project. It's like, or for $50 or $100. It's like, nowadays I got to respect people's talents and their abilities and be like, what's your day rate? How much do you charge? Yeah. And you look at that project and you go, in order to do that, I'd have to be ready to drop $10,000. And so you go, I would have never made it. I would have just gone, well, this is an idea I have. So it exists as like a garage band or a 4-track band's demo. Yeah. And it's like, so be it. It exists.
Yeah. Well, I would say it's superior to that, but
I appreciate
it's very impressive. But I think part of that is the singular vision. Yeah. And, you knew exactly what you wanted it to be, and you pulled it off, and it's really cool. And you did get some of those, the quality of it lends itself to people being like, well, yeah, I can do this. I'll do it for you. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of that, the kind of gathering of the, of the people, type thing. But it's, I can't wait to see what you do next, man. I'm really excited that you're through that.
I'm back. I'm ready to create again, Matt. I'm ready.
Because you teased an idea to me almost 2 years ago now that
I know.
I've been, maybe it wasn't 2 years ago. Well, maybe it was. We've lost a whole year.
We've lost a whole year. It was 2 years ago for sure.
It was in a parking lot at Brewing Comedy.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. God damn. It's so funny, right? Man.
Lost year.
It's really, really weird. It's really, really weird. Have you been watching comedy at all? Like any specials or anything like that lately?
No. And I think I'm going through a love relationship with comedy and my history in it and where I would go in the future with it. I think that, and I think I talked a little bit about this last time when I did a podcast with you, but we went after it so hard for so many years, and then you're kind of forced into this break. And then I look at it now and I kind of go, I kind of go, I don't really miss it that much.
I think that's, I think we're underappreciating just how great it is once you get back.
I know. And that'll probably happen. Yeah. That'll probably happen. Like a week or two ago, the Ha is reopening and doing mics again, I guess, on the patio. And Mike Cetera, who's one of the first guys I met doing open mics and, back in the day. Yeah. And he wrote something about like, come out and tag me in it. And I was like, there's a part of me that knows that the moment I'd be in that room with that smell and the beer and the mic, and just even though it's a open mic where it's just comics in the room, but there would be something that I would be like, oh, I did miss this. This is fun. Yeah. And just even the thought of being at a show and in front of an audience, I'm sure that would be amazing. I think it's just, there was a whole thing that took up so much of my life that I always felt like I was never doing enough. And you look at like I was never going after it hard enough. And now when I see all of our comic friends posting pictures of them getting up and doing shows and getting back to work and all that stuff, I'm there's part of me that You know, I don't. It sounds so juvenile, but I'm like sitting over here and I'm looking at them and I'm like, I don't even want to go to that party. You know, I don't even care. And deep down, you really just want to be invited to the party.
Yeah.
But I know it's up to me. I get to just get up off my ass and go back. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It is. I'm having the weirdest adolescent visceral reaction to stand-up comedy. I'm sure I'll love it when I do it again, but I haven't been watching it. To answer your question in a very roundabout way, no,
I'm not ready to be in a room in a closed room. I'm pretty sure I'm not ready to do that. And I don't want to add a layer of fear to another show. Like that doesn't help.
Yeah, right.
But I definitely know I miss it, and what I definitely know I miss is playing music.
Yeah,
and I feel like I want to be able to do that again too. But it's the same issue. Like, do I want to be in a small bar, a closed bar with people? No, not really. And, you know, like I'm not a big drinker anyway, so I wouldn't be going to the bars if I wasn't performing, basically.
Yeah.
Like, so, especially at my age with kids and stuff, like I don't go out. The only time I went out was when I was performing. So, but I definitely miss that a lot. And,
I miss the community. I do miss the community. I miss the nights that you and I would hang out and talk in a parking lot about story ideas, or you'd run into a comic that you really liked that was on the lineup and you had no idea. And you were like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. And then that was the Zoom equivalent of me getting the light. I think that was basically Zoom going, all right, Givens, that's good.
Wrap it up.
Got other comics that want to get up on stage.
I just don't I don't know if anybody's going to I'm in this weird spot where I'm like, I don't know if anybody's going to give a shit, you know, for a little while.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's people that, you know, they can't wait to get back there and do it again. It just, the priority, it feels really low on my priority list.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. But I think I'm like testing the waters with other things. Like once I'm fully vaccinated and over all of that, I'll be like, all right, how comfortable do I feel in this situation or that situation? And then like little blocks of 2 weeks at a time, like, okay, we'll go to a restaurant, I guess, you know, we'll try it and then we'll see, you know, but, I always think about what you said. I don't remember if it was on like a regular Zoom call or the last podcast, but like, we're going to be that weird generation, like the ones that lived through the Great Depression, like are super crazy about money. We're going to be like, I don't need to touch you. I'm just going to be over here. Yes,
we're going to have like how the greatest generation were hoarders, you know, and they kept everything. We're going to be this generation of people that just are kind of grossed out by hands and contact and bodies and crowds. And I think so. I think especially in our elder years, when we're old, we'll be like, I don't know. You know, we're going to be the kind of people like, did that waitress touch that cup with their hand? You know.
You know, what's fucked up is that would be a good argument, although it will never work because it takes too long to get to it. But if you'd be like, listen, 21-year-old people who think you don't need to get the vaccine, someday you're going to be 81-year-old people. And if we don't knock this thing out, it will definitely kill you then.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want this around if we can eradicate it. So it's like, you know, and they're like, oh, fuck it, live for the now. But it's just like, dude.
I know.
Craziness.
I
really want to do a variety show where we play music
and then comedy.
And do comedy, yeah.
I love it. Well, now when the world will philosophize about religion at the end.
It could be like a TED Talk. We could just rent a theater.
Play a set, do some jokes at the end and be like, now we're going to talk about the origins of, you know, the Judeo-Christian thought, you know.
Would you play in a band now? Like, is that something you would take on?
Yeah. I dream of being in that's something that I love the idea of, getting up and playing music again with a group of people. That is something that you always hunger for once you've had it. I would definitely play in a band again.
Would you sing primarily?
my challenge is this: as a guitar player, I'm a good rhythm guitar player. I'm not the guy who handles the complex parts. I got the chords, the changes, I can do some okay transition stuff, the octaves like the Pumpkins, but I'm not amazing in terms of being a lead guitarist. But if I've written the song or it's like a Weezer song, I could sing and play. But if the guitar parts start getting a little too intricate, it's really hard to sing and play, anything like that. But so I don't know. My voice, the older I'm getting, I used to be able to like go there with the notes and whatever. But it's like I'm Leonard Cohening in my older years. I'm getting deeper and deeper. My singer voice is just going blah 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 blah. Now. So I don't know. There's probably a better vocalist than me, but I would love to just get up there and rock out on guitar.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the same as producing comedy shows the next time I'm ready to play, but I think outdoor music probably would happen sooner in my mind than indoor comedy out here. And I've been talking to my old cover band guys, a couple of them. And I'm like, maybe we should do that again. We already know all the songs. It's really fun.
Do you have all the roles fulfilled? Do you have everybody, or do you need
No, I need a rhythm guitarist and singer.
Well, then I could be your guy. You know what?
It would be fun.
Here's
right?
what we'll do. When I was in my 20s, I went and auditioned for this band. It was like an online posting, and I went in, and these guys, they were like super into me, and I was like, I feel like I'm going to get this job. I feel like I'm going to be in this band. And then they had this one member who came in, and they made me do a U2 song, and I was like not able to hit these Bono notes.
Right.
And this guy just was like, looked at his other bandmates like all smarmy, like, see, you can't do it. And I didn't get it. Anyway, for your band, for your cover band, I'll just come out and jam with you guys sometime and see if I can even keep up. And if it's a good fit and you guys are happy, then I'm in.
I mean, listen, you know how much shit I have going on. I know how much shit you have going on. We have kids and lives. It would literally, the main tenets of this band would be know the songs because we don't have time to rehearse.
Yeah.
Maybe once a month we'll book a gig.
Yeah.
Be ready. Like, because dude, actually pulling it off requires so much time. Like,
I know.
If everybody's pulling their weight and like doing the rehearsal on their own, you can pull it off. But it's like, I would sometimes go to rehearsals and like, I'd be the only one that worked on the shit. I'm like, listen, like, I don't have time for this shit. We can't learn this here.
No.
Like, it's a cover song. The whole, like, you could look it up.
Right. I know.
You know what I mean?
There's a great cover band here in LA called the Past Action Heroes. Have I talked to you about them?
That's
before?
such a good name.
Have I?
No.
There's. I love these guys so much. Like I follow them on Instagram and they follow me back. And I've been watching them play live for years. They played here in nearby where I live at like a summer festival. And then I would be like, if they're playing, we're going. And they're called the Past Action Heroes, and they dress up in 80s clothes. Like, the drummer dresses up. I mean, it's like Hulk Hogan, Paunch, trying to remember all the costumes with all 80s like iconic characters. And they do 80s songs and they do medleys, and they are just so much fun that I was like, man, if I was in a band, I would just want to bring that same fun, infectious energy, where I was just like up there giving all my might to these cover songs. So
we'll have a fun time. We'll have a fun time for sure.
Yeah, I have not figured out a name for it yet. That's the one thing I got to figure out. Two and a half years ago, before I even started at BioFriendly, I tried to start one on my own. And at the time I called it Disbelieve It or Not. That was the name of the podcast. But I feel like I've kind of grown a little bit past that name. I feel like that show was about not believing, whereas this show is about exploring. That's what this show is about. It's about exploring ideas. So
you'll find it.
Yeah, we'll find it. All right, man. Well,
appreciate it.
Best your family, and let's talk more soon. And when's this bad boy going up? Do you turn these around pretty fast, or this is like a month out?
Yeah, it'll be this week.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
All right, brother.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
Be good. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
But why should I try to resist when, baby, I know too well that I've got you under my skin. I'd sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near, in spite of a warning voice that rings in the nights, repeats and repeats in my ear. Don't you know, little fool, you ain't never gonna win. Use your mentality, wake up to reality. But each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop just before I begin. Yes, I've got you under my skin. Hey there, you with the stars in your eyes. Love never made